Hello and welcome to my whiskey rants. My whiskey rant today is all about making a journey to Kentucky. It is what should you do while you're in Kentucky, what are things to consider while you're in Kentucky, and what makes Kentucky Kentucky from my perspective. And I live in Oklahoma. I have traveled to Kentucky a couple different times. I want to explore more than just the whiskey and bourbon community, but ultimately I went there for bourbon and whiskey. So here it is. And again, this is my view on what makes Kentucky special to me. Everybody's going to want to go places for different reasons. I went to Kentucky a couple years ago for the first time, and I was there specifically to do the Kentucky Bourbon Tour. I wanted to hit the major distilleries, and we went with a couple of our buddies, and we had a great time, right? So that's what I want to talk about. And that kind of led me into becoming more of a hobbyist around bourbon and collecting bottles like they were Pokemon Go cards, you know? So first, Louisville, Kentucky. My first time there was back in 2021, and I went there really because I wanted to go experience a few different distilleries. But while I was there, I learned Kentucky is more than just bourbon and distilleries. So first thing is, of course, Kentucky is known for, honestly, the Louisville Slugger Museum. And I'm a baseball person, so I love that experience. I was glad that we switched our schedule up and we're able to go to the Louisville Slugger Museum. I've been there again since then. That is awesome. There's some history behind that, and I just think that is awesome. That's why I like bourbons, because of the history. So Louisville Slugger is a big thing with inside of baseball, and for those that like America's pastime, that's baseball. But let's be honest, we all kind of go to Kentucky to drink whiskey. And so the Kentucky Bourbon Trail is a well-known tourist adventure. There are multiple distilleries within inside of the Bourbon Trail. Those that you know on a day-to-day basis, whether that be Buffalo Trace, Elijah Craig, or Heaven Hill, Maker's Mark, all of them are part of this Kentucky Bourbon Trail. So if you go to Louisville, Louisville is kind of the downtown, the center. It's on the river. The river is what produces the water. The water is one of the reasons that Kentucky is special. And so that is really kind of what drives you to the whole experience. However, what you'll find is there's not a lot going on downtown Louisville from a distillery perspective. There are new startups, and I think the world of some of these. You're going to talk about Nulu, you're going to talk about even Angel's Envy, Rabbit Hole. All these places are downtown. Peerless. Evan Williams is downtown Louisville. So downtown Louisville has a bunch. Whiskey Row is downtown. It's fucking awesome. There ain't nothing wrong with downtown Louisville. But if you want to experience more of the bourbon community, it's outside of downtown Louisville. So, what are you looking for when you go there, right? What do you do when you go there? There are tours guides that'll take you around. The benefit of those, nobody has to drive. You've got to schedule them though, and so you got to work through all the planning. I've been fortunate enough to go with a group of people that had a planner, and I was able just to kind of get a vehicle and just go. And that's awesome. I love it. What else? Okay, so if you go to Kentucky to hunt for alcohol, that's a completely different thing. In like distillery tours, yeah, you're gonna get some. There's some distillery only bottles. There's some of that stuff that you probably want to go get, but there's liquor stores too. And if you're outside of Kentucky, maybe you have a perception that every liquor store in Louisville or Kentucky has Blanton's and all the bottles that you hear of all the time. And the answer is it's not really true. Yes, you can find them. Yes, they got more options, but ultimately they don't just have like cases of Blanton's that you can't get somewhere else. The distribution model is something I'll get into it another time, but for today's purposes, just know, just because you walk down to a liquor store in downtown Louisville doesn't mean you're going to find a Blanton's, okay? Again, they still have distribution. Every state's got to get something, all the other stuff. So all that comes into play, but just know when you go to Louisville, there are some things that you want to consider. So first, the big distilleries that you have to hit. I have to be honest. I'm not the hugest Buffalo Trace fan. I love their products. I think the antique collection, BTACs, are probably amazing. I just don't get the opportunity for them as much. But truth be told, I probably want to look for other distillery releases. So, but Buffalo Trace to me is probably still the best and greatest distillery tour I've been to. The history behind it, you get to other distilleries and like you can know you're at a distillery, but you are close to the grounds of Buffalo Trace and you know you're about to walk onto property that's just, it's just different, you know? So if you go to Louisville and you're going for Kentucky Bourbon Trail, please do yourself a favor. Do not skip at all the Buffalo Trace tours for whatever reason. Find a way, go there. Even if you don't go on a tour, just go on the grounds. When you go through the gate area, you just can smell bourbon, and it's amazing. Okay, so do yourself that favor. Second thing I would tell you is this: if you're there to buy bottles of whiskey and bring them back, whether you're flying, driving, whatever you're doing, okay, I would tell you this: create a day, make a day and a time where the only thing you do is you go to liquor stores. The truth is most of your distilleries are going to be open during normal operating hours, just as the liquor stores are. And so you may not get time to do the liquor stores if you don't make time for it specifically. So just do that. If you're there for 3 days, make a day where you don't go to a distillery, because here's the deal: you can go to liquor stores throughout the day, and then you can get into downtown Louisville and you can just go hit up a couple of the downtown spots. Rabbit Hole, Angel's Envy, Peerless, Michter's, they're all downtown Louisville. So just walk in and go experience that, hey, this is a distillery, but you don't have to go through all this other nonsense. Make that a priority if that's what you're going for. What else? If you're going and you want to experience the coolest part of what I would say is the Kentucky Bourbon Trail and where you're going, you want to go to Bardstown. I mean, Bardstown is the city outside of Louisville, and that is where some of the best liquor distilleries are, the bourbon distilleries, and it's amazing. So go there. I don't care who you go to. You got your favorite distilleries, your favorite bourbons, go to them. Heaven Hill has a huge, massive brand. Jim Beam, Wild Turkey, any of them, just go to them. Find the one that you want and go to it. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to your neighbor. What do you want? Go there. Woodford, it's beautiful. Okay, even if you don't like Woodford products, but go there because it's beautiful. The Willet Bar, whew, buddy, a fun time. Three boys, you know, three boys. But anyway, so like, go there. Those are great times. Okay. But kind of know what you want, what you're trying to get, and what you want to achieve while you're there. So do you want to get the most knowledge from distilleries? Do you want to experience the most tradition? There's lots of major distilleries. You have Buffalo Trace, you have Four Roses, you have Maker's Mark, you have Wild Turkey, you have Heaven Hill. You can be downtown Louisville and go to Evan Williams, which is DSP1. There are so many things that you can do, but know what you want. And then talk to people who have gone and ask them questions. Everybody's willing to share. The thing about whiskey in the bourbon community is we all want something different, but we all want to share the experience. And so I leave you with this. If there's one thing to know about bourbon, if there's one thing to know about whiskey, I want you to know, everybody, whiskey is meant to be shared. Whiskey is meant to be enjoyed. Don't just sit on bottles. Don't flip bottles just to charge extra prices because it's a rare bottle you got. Feel free to do it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, just remember, whiskey is meant to be enjoyed and whiskey is meant to be shared. And I want to let you all know, cheers.